The Cursed Echo. A young writer, Ethan, moves into a secluded mountain cabin to start a new chapter in his life. This house holds deep childhood memories for him, as he spent many summers here with his parents, experiencing some of his happiest moments. However, the house's old and eerie atmosphere unsettles him. Despite its sentimental value, the cabin feels different now, colder, darker, and strangely quiet. As Ethan unpacks, he can't shake the feeling that something is watching him from the shadows. As Ethan spends more time in the cabin, his childhood memories start resurfacing, vivid and intense. At first, they are warm recollections of laughter, the scent of pine, and the soft glow of the fireplace. But soon, darker details emerge. He remembers hushed arguments between his parents, his mother's muffled sobs, and his father's bursts of anger. These memories feel out of place, as if they had been buried deep in his mind for a reason. The more he recalls, the more uneasy he becomes. Something about this house is stirring up emotions he can't fully understand, and a sense of dread begins to settle in. At night, strange noises echo through the cabin. At first, Ethan dismisses them as the wind howling through the trees or the old wooden floors settling. But as the nights pass, the sounds become more distinct. Soft whispers, faint footsteps, and the creaking of doors that he knows he closed. Sleep becomes impossible. The noises persist, sometimes growing louder, sometimes stopping abruptly, as if whoever or whatever is making them knows he's listening. One night, as he lies in bed staring at the ceiling, he hears something unmistakable, a whisper close to his ear. Heart pounding, Ethan sits up and looks around the dark room. He's alone, but for the first time, he isn't sure if that's really true. Determined to find answers, Ethan begins searching the cabin for anything that might explain the strange occurrences. While exploring the basement, he stumbles upon an old wooden chest covered in dust. Inside, he finds a collection of letters. Yellowed with age, their ink faded but still readable. As he carefully unfolds them, he realizes they were written by his mother. The letters reveal a hidden side of his parents' lives. His mother's deep sadness, his father's growing anger, and a darkness that seemed to consume their relationship. One letter in particular catches his attention. I hear the whispers again. He doesn't believe me, but I know something is in this house. It watches. It waits. Ethan's breath catches in his throat. The whispers. He has heard them too. Ethan begins experiencing unsettling dreams. Vivid, almost too real. In them, he sees his parents standing in the cabin, their faces shadowed, their voices distorted. They call his name, their words urgent yet unintelligible. Each time he tries to reach them, the dream shifts into something darker. A sense of suffocation, an overwhelming dread. Every night, the dreams become more intense. He wakes up gasping for air, his body covered in cold sweat. But the worst part is that, even when he's awake, he starts to see glimpses of them. His mother standing in the corner of the room, his father's silhouette passing by the window. Ethan can no longer tell what is real and what is just a dream. The line between the two is beginning to blur, and a terrifying thought creeps into his mind. What if he never truly wakes up? Ethan becomes obsessed with uncovering the truth about his parents. Digging through more of the old letters and documents in the cabin, he stumbles upon something chilling. His parents didn't die in an accident, as he had always been told. They were murdered. The police report he finds is vague, With no suspects and no clear evidence, the case was left unsolved. But as Ethan reads further, he notices a disturbing pattern in the letters his mother wrote. She spoke of a presence in the house, of whispers in the night, of shadows that moved when no one was there. And then, in the final letter, "We can't escape it, Ethan. It won't let us leave. It won't let us live." Ethan's hands tremble as he sets the letter down. His parents weren't just murdered. They had been trapped. Just like he is now. As the days pass, Ethan's grip on reality slips further. He can no longer distinguish between the waking world and his nightmarish visions. His parents' voices grow louder, calling to him from the shadows. Their figures materialize more frequently. His mother's ghostly silhouette near the kitchen. His father's towering form at the foot of his bed. Each night, the sounds become more intense. The whispers are no longer soft murmurs. Now they shout his name, urging him to join them. Ethan feels his mind unraveling. He spends sleepless nights pacing through the cabin, his thoughts fragmented and erratic. He no longer feels alone in the house. Something is with him, watching his every move. Sometimes, when he glances into the mirrors, he sees his own reflection twist into something unrecognizable. Other times, he sees the faces of his parents, their eyes hollow and filled with endless despair. Ethan knows he's losing himself, but he's too far gone to stop it now. In a final desperate attempt to understand what's happening, Ethan digs through the remaining boxes in the attic. Among the forgotten trinkets, he finds one last letter. This one, addressed specifically to him. It's from his father. The handwriting is shaky, as though written in haste. "Ethan, if you're reading this, then you've already started hearing the voices. You've already begun to see the shadows. The curse has claimed you, just as it did us. There is no escaping it. It's not just a presence. It's a force. And it feeds on the weak, the lost, the desperate. We thought we could break free, but we were wrong." The letter continues, but Ethan can barely read the words through his tears. The truth is sinking in. His parents hadn't just suffered in the house. They had been consumed by it, just as he is now. The curse is passed down. It waits for the right moment. I fear it is already too late for you, Ethan. A chill runs through him as he feels a cold hand on his shoulder. He turns slowly, but there's no one there. Yet the air grows thicker, and the whispers grow louder, more demanding. Ethan knows the truth now. He's not just haunted by their spirits. He is becoming one of them. Ethan's mental state deteriorates further as he begins to lose all sense of reality. The nights have become unbearable. He no longer sleeps but lies in bed, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling. The shadows of his parents appear constantly, moving around him in the corners of his vision. One night, as the whispers intensify, he hears his mother's voice clearly, a soft, sorrowful tone that sends chills down his spine. "Ethan, we couldn't save you, but now you're just like us." Her figure materializes in the corner of the room, her face pale and hollow. His father's angry voice follows, sharp and filled with rage. "You can't escape, Ethan. This house has already claimed you. You belong here now, just like we do." Ethan feels a deep, growing despair. He tries to respond, but the words won't come. His body feels paralyzed, trapped in the house with no way out. His parents' voices continue to haunt him, and they reveal a terrifying truth. The curse that has ravaged their family is not just a random tragedy. It is a force that binds them all to the cabin. It waits, and it passes from generation to generation. Ethan's fear reaches its peak as he realizes that the curse will not let him go. His mind, body, and soul are being pulled deeper into the abyss. He is becoming a part of the house, a part of the nightmare. And the worst part, the curse will soon seek out its next victim, someone who will take his place in the tormenting cycle. Ethan's descent into madness is complete. He no longer recognizes the world around him. He is trapped in an endless cycle of torment, unable to escape the grasp of the house. His parents, once distant figures in his memories, have become omnipresent, tormenting him in every moment. Every night, their twisted voices invade his thoughts. Their faces appear at his bedside, their cold hands reaching out to claim him. One night, the shadows grow darker, and the air becomes suffocating. Ethan can feel them closing in, the oppressive weight of their anger and sorrow crushing him. His mother whispers, her voice filled with sorrow, "We couldn't save you, Ethan. Now you belong to the darkness." His father's voice is harsh, filled with malice. "You were always meant to join us. The curse was never meant to spare you." Ethan screams, but the sound is swallowed by the dark. His heart races as he feels the presence of his parents closing in on him. Then, in a final horrifying moment, his father's voice echoes in his ear. "This is your fate, Ethan. The house will never let you go." And with that, Ethan's life ends. His body lies cold, but the curse is far from over. The house waits, silent, patient, for the next soul to wander in, unaware that it too will become part of the cycle, just as Ethan did. The whispers never stop. They linger, waiting for the next victim to answer their call.